in verse 68, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again,
right?
With ships.
Right, so it says the Lord is going to bring us into Egypt again. Right, do you know what the Israelites was doing in Egypt? It's hard if you don't. A lot of our people don't know. That's why we got to get into it. Hey, that's the spirit. She said, I am an Israelite. I should know. Oh, praise. That's beautiful. Go ahead.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 2. Right. I am the Lord thy God, which I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
So you know what bondage means?
Yeah.
What's bondage?
Like kind of like chains and shackles.
Chains and shackles, exactly. Yeah. Right. Now let's get go back to 28:68.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. Right. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
So slavery again, that same condition again.
With ships.
With what?
With ships.
With ships. Because when you go into it, who went back into slavery again? Like, we don't even know the accounts of the first time that people went into slavery. But we got an account where we was in slavery, multiple accounts. And it says this time on ships. So who else in the world went into slavery on ships? That's about it. Yeah. But was he talking to the black people or was he talking to Israelites? He's talking to Israelites. Keep going. There's more on that.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Because we haven't seen our homeland again. We think our homeland is Africa, but we won't be able to tell you what nation in Africa. There's over 55 different nations in Africa, right? When you ask an African, they say, oh yeah, I'm Egyptian, I'm Liberian, I'm Ugandan, right? They'll say that. We won't be able to do that. We won't do that. Go ahead.
And there you should be sold unto your enemies.
And then we're going to be what?
Sold unto your enemies.
And then weren't we sold after getting off those slave ships? Who were we sold to? And the Lord just called them your enemies. Enemies just means your adversary. Those that are opposed to you, right? Opposite of you. We're opposite of the so-called white man. We're 100% opposite. Go ahead.
For bondmen and bond women.
So slave men and slave women.
And no man shall buy you.
So if you wasn't convinced by then, go to verse 48 real quick.
This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48.
Go ahead.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
So it says it again. We're going to serve our enemies. Go ahead.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
So the Lord sent them against us. Why? Because we broke his commandments. Go ahead.
In hunger.
In hunger.
And in thirst.
And in thirst.
And in want. And it's like it. And in nakedness.
So when we're hungry, who do we go to when we're hungry?
Proverbs chapter 8, verse 32.
Like you got food at your crib, right?
O ye children,
Where did the food come from?
blessed are they that keep my way.
Grocery store.
You go to the grocery store. Who owns the grocery store? We gotta go to them for food. What about water? Water falls free from the sky, right? But if they catch us collecting it, that's like a 1,200, I believe 1,500 fine up north. I don't know. I forgot how much it is in the south, but that's a fine. Go ahead.
And in nakedness.
And in nakedness, when you want clothes, right? You got the Chucks down there, right? I got the Filas, you got the Nikes. Do we own them? We don't own them, right? Go ahead.
Right. And in hunger, and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
And in want of all things, right? Even if you want to buy a mask, we're not getting it from our people, right? If we want to just own up a store, get a store, right? Yeah, we might have so-called black-owned businesses, right? But where are we getting the loan from? Then where are we getting the stuff to build our material from? Then where are we getting the merchandise to make our food? Then we all getting it from our enemies. Go ahead.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
Now it's specific. He said what?
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
So now this same enemy is going to put a yoke of iron upon your neck, right? And who had yokes of iron upon their necks? Listen, this is adding up like crazy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't even get around that. Right? So what did the Lord say about these people? Let's get Deuteronomy 7:6.
Until he have destroyed thee.
Until he have destroyed thee, both physically and mentally. Right? Because now we call ourselves all types of bywords. We don't understand who we are walking into this earth. We walk into the earth thinking we're niggas. Right. You know what I'm saying? Thinking we're just hoes and tricks and things of that nature. Right? And a lot of our women, they don't understand. They call themselves queens. Right? When you go into a queen, literally queen just means the king's whore, the king's prostitute. It's actually a Latin, was it Latin? No, yeah, it's Latin. You know what I'm saying? It's Latin. And Latin is actually spelled Quean, right? It's spelled Quean. You can look it up. It just means the king's whore, the king's prostitute, right? Because you got to understand, a lot of our women really not moving like a queen anyways. You know what I'm saying? They want to be the king. They kind of want both crowns on their head. Right. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6.
Go ahead.
For thou art an holy people
So the Lord said we're a holy people. Go ahead.
unto the Lord thy God.
All right.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself,
Okay.
above all people.
No. Read that again.
Above all people.
No, we're equal.
Above all people.
Do
That
you agree
are,
with that? That we're above all people? Go ahead.
that are upon the face of the earth.
That are upon the face of the earth. Let me get Matthew chapter 5 and verse 13. I'm going to prove it to you. All right, because if you got a little doubt in your mind, I kind of got to break that down. I gotta pull that down. You can't have no doubt about that. Go ahead.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse, which one?
13.
And verse 13.
Right.
Ye are the salt of the earth.
He said these Israelites are the salt of the earth. What does salt do?
It purifies.
I ain't never heard of that. That's good. That's facts. But what does salt do to food? Like when you add salt to your food, what are you adding salt to your food? You go to a restaurant, you're like, kind of bland. You feel me? Taste.
Right.
We put the taste into this world. We put the flavor into this world. Right, so we definitely above all people. Because when you think about it, all right, sports-wise, who's killing us in basketball? Nobody. Football, baseball, soccer, we're on top. Tennis, Serena Williams, Venus and Serena, they be making songs about them. Fire. Singing. Who's the best singer? Who's the best singers out here? I'm just saying best singers out here. Because me, listen,
Yeah, of all time or just out?
if we do all time, we're still on top.
Right.
For real. If we do this time, I can name a few. Like Janae Aiko, fire. Because I think her father is actually a G, right? Then everybody, talk about Beyonce, you know what I'm saying? But we got a lot of fire singers.
Right.
Rihanna. We got fire singers. Right? When we go into dressing, who dressed better than us? I wish you would say somebody else.
Right.
Name another nation. You think these white people dress better than us?
They try to dress like us. You know?
Exactly. You think the Asians dress better than us?
Definitely not.
The East Indians, them Arabs and shit, they don't dress better than us. Nobody has the salt like us. Go ahead.
But if the salt have lost its savior,
Right?
wherewith shall it be salted?
Because if all the so-called black people, all the Israelites today, pack it up and leave this damn area, this damn nation gonna be bland as hell. It's gonna be over. It's done over with. We're above all people. The Lord said that from the beginning and to the end. Go ahead.
It is henceforth good for nothing.
We'll be good for nothing. We'll really be good for nothing. If we really, if I step off my throne right now and start dressing like a damn white boy, people gonna look at me like, yo, you just down, you crazy as hell.
Right.
If I just get a damn perm in my head, fuck these, I get a damn perm in my head, but I'm gonna catch hell.
But to be cast out
Right?
and to be trodden underfoot of men,
Right?
ye are the light of the world.
We are the light of the world. Right? That's why we're above all people. We're the light of the world. Nobody cannot say anything without putting a so-called black man in their mouth.
Right.
Right? When they're going to denounce other things, they gotta bring up a so-called black man. Right? When they go into talking about whatever they want to talk about, we always come up into the conversation. There's no way around it. We hop into that conversation. We are their conversation, straight like that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's as pressed about us than all these other nations. Nobody pressed like that about us. Right?
A city that is set on a high hill cannot be hid.
He said a city that's set on a high hill can't be hid. We're set on a high hill. We're above all people. We're really on that top throne. Right now, we just got to come back to who we are today. Right? Because a lot of people, they look at this and they think this is a damn religious book. But I can tell you right now, if I ask him, are you a Christian?
No.
He said, nah, I ain't no damn Christian. I'm not no damn Christian. Christian, well, I'm a Christian in a sense. Because Christian just means follower of Christ. But are you in Christianity? That's a better question. I'm not in Christianity. Because Christianity teaches you that everybody is equal. But in the Bible, it doesn't teach you that. Right? Listen, Christianity is a bad stronghold. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's still the slave man's mentality when you go into Christianity. So the only thing I want to show you, one more thing, right? Let me get Deuteronomy 10 and 12 real fast.
And when they say a city on a high hill cannot be hid, they try and downplay us. They try to say, oh, they just black, they nothing, they ghetto, they hood rat. But yeah, we still on top, and everybody try to be like us. But look at us like we spit. Deuteronomy chapter 10 in verse, which one?
12.
In verse 12.
Right.
And now Israel will do what the Lord thy God require of thee.
So what does the Lord require of us being Israelites? Go ahead.
But to fear the Lord thy God,
Right?
to walk in all his ways,
Mm-hmm.
and to love
And
him.
Christians bring this out. All right, it sounds familiar. It's probably ringing a bell. Go ahead.
and to serve the Lord thy God with all
Right.
thy heart and with all thy soul.
All right, 1 second. So right now, all hell breaking loose. All hell breaking loose. Right, your grandma in the middle doing break dancing. Right, she kind of break dancing, spinning on her head, wig flying off. You know what I'm saying? You got your aunt in the back, kind of banging the tambourine, going all types of crazy. Right, you got the drummer boy. He all off beat, but hey, he got the spirit on him. Keep going.
To keep the commandments of the Lord.
To do what?
To keep the commandments of the Lord.
Why don't they keep going? It says to keep the commandments of the Lord. What? Nah, the commandments done away with. Let me get Revelations 22 and 14.
Fine, I'm finished. And his statutes which I command thee this day for thy good.
For thy good.
What was it?
Revelations 22, verse 14.
Verse 14.
It's the last book. Look, we're gonna have to show it. You see how this is the last page of the Bible. Read that.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 22 and verse 14.
Right.
Blessed are they that do his commandments.
Do what?
Blessed are they that do his commandments.
That's at the end of that's the end of the book. That's the end after that. Go ahead.
That they may have right to the tree of life.
Right.
And may enter in through the gates into the city.
He said you got to keep these commandments just so you can get into the gates of the city. That's plain upon tables. You can't even remix that anywhere. You can't remix that. Right? That's authentic. That's authentic lyrics right there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's fire lyrics. I give it a 10 out of 10. Right, those bars right there.
God.
Right? So look, I have a question. Do you know, right? Do you know any commandments?
Not really. I heard of it. Like,
Word. Actually, I'm gonna ask you one more.
I know them. I hear them. I think, but
Word. I'm gonna ask you two questions. First, do you think Christ is a so-called white man? I gotta just put that out there.
there's no way that God or any of them. I'm not black. I mean white.
Right. There's really no way.
Yeah.
Right. Let me get Revelations 1 real quick. You know his description in the Bible, right?
No, but I know he's not white because how can you read that?
I'm gonna show
White
you.
skin doesn't come from our
Peter
skin.
and the other
Listen.
apostles answered and said,
I mean, a little bit because
but-
albinos, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're
Yeah.
saying.
I mean, it's not the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. It's not.
Revelation chapter 1 and verse 13.
Because when you go into it, the white people, they have melanin, but their melanin works in reverse, right? Because they're derivatives of red. We're derivatives of red, but our melanin turns us darker. Their melanin reverses, turns them more to a lighter shade of red. That's why when we see these damn white people, they're not white. They're not white.
Right.
As soon as you look, I'll smack one hard as hell. That whole face will turn super red.
Not even when they get cold, when
they
they
get
mad,
cold.
they're sick. Any emotion, they show that you.
They get red.
That's why they're called rednecks back in the south.
Yeah, they definitely call them rednecks in the south.
And in the midst of the seven, this is Revelation chapter 1 and verse 13.
Right.
And in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one likened unto the Son of Man,
Talking about so-called Jesus. Go ahead.
with a garment, clothed with a garment down to the foot,
All the way down. He had a long garment. Go ahead.
and a girt about to pass with a golden girdle.
So he had a golden belt. All right, go ahead.
His head and his hairs were white like wool,
It says, keep going.
as white as snow.
So he had white woolly hair. All right, who's predominantly known for that woolly hair?